Hi everybody, it's Deborah from PeopleLovingAnimals.com. Thanks so much for tuning in, watching my video today. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to get your puppy to stop behaving aggressively. You know, sometimes when people talk about an aggressive puppy, they kind of chuckle because it is kind of cute how they're like trying to be ferocious, you know, when they're so little. But if it's really a problem and it's not just the puppy playing and you really think that they have some anger issues going on or something of that sort, it really is important that you get a handle on this while your puppy is still young, because dog aggression can be a very serious issue. It can become worse and worse as a dog ages, and it can result in some pretty terrible things happening. So I'm glad you're here, and I'm hopefully by the end of this video you're going to have a really good handle on how you can get a hold of your puppy's aggression. In today's video, we're going to talk about understanding why your puppy is behaving to begin with. There are several common reasons why they might be acting aggressively to begin with. I'm also going to give you 7 specific things you can do to get a hold of and stop your puppy being aggressive. I'm also going to give you a link to a video from professional dog trainer and behavioral specialist Doggy Dan, where he explains exactly what goes on in a dog's brain when they become aggressive. It's actually a physiological reaction to certain stimuli and triggers. I think you're going to find it really interesting, the way that Doggy Dan explains it. I'm also going to give you some links in the description box for some of Doggy Dan's very inexpensive, easy to follow, super effective training programs that can help you to solve your puppy's aggression and also help you to bond with your puppy and help you to step up as pack leader for your puppy, which according to Doggy Dan is the most loving thing you will ever do for the dog. I hope that by the time we're done with today's video, I hope that you will be glad that you found this, and I hope that you'll be able to get a handle on why your puppy is behaving this way, right? So the best way to understand why your puppy is being aggressive is to understand why they're doing it. First of all, I'm going to talk about the cause, like why are they doing it. One of the 7 ways of stopping your puppy from being aggressive is to understand why they're doing it. They can act aggressively for several reasons. They can have a lack of proper socialization, resource guarding, overexcitement, pain or medical issues, or fear or insecurity. Let's just touch on these just very quickly. Lack of proper socialization. You know, dogs are different. Every dog is different, just like every person is different. You know, there's some kids go to kindergarten and they jump in and play with the other kids and they're fine. There's other kids that would rather die, you know. So puppies can be the same way. You know, they can be sensitive, they can be fearful. Sometimes, depending on how young the puppy is, they could have come from a puppy mill, they could have come from a bad breeder. They could have come, you know, from a household where the dogs were just not treated well. You don't know if they've had any sort of abuse or trauma or scary things happen to them, right? And also they might not have any experience with people or other dogs or children. Okay, so socialization is really important, and I am going to give you a link to my video about how to socialize your puppy properly. Resource guarding. You know, every time I think of dog resource guarding, I think about my wiener dog, Taz. If you've been here for my dog care and dog training videos before, you've seen little Taz. She came from a dog shelter. She was kind of old when I got her, and her previous owner had gone into a nursing home and couldn't keep her anymore. So it was kind of an older dog. She ended up in this shelter. And when I went to pick, it wasn't like an SPCA, it was a lady that had a shelter in her house and she would take in animals and stuff. And I went to her house to pick up Taz, and it was like one of 25 dogs. Now, they were all fine. She was a beautiful woman. She was taking care of all of them. This little wiener dog slept in bed with her daughter every night. I mean, you know, it wasn't a bad situation, but there was just a lot of dogs. And then the whole time that I had Taz, she wouldn't growl if you would go near her food or anything, but she was very protective, you know, not only of her food, but of her blankets, her toys. She was very hyper vigilant about protecting her things. It's like, okay, well, look where she came from. It was literally a dog eat dog, situation. She might have had to fight for her food in that situation. She might have felt like there wasn't enough. You see what I mean? So it could be resource guarding. And if they are resource guarding, like if the puppy is growling at you when you're trying to get their food or whatever, I'm going to give you a video for that, by the way. It might be that for some reason they think they need to protect their stuff, okay? Overexcitement, obviously. Puppies need to control. They need to be taught how to control their impulses. They need to be taught how to remain calm. They need to be taught how to behave, just like children. They need kind, loving training to teach them to handle their own emotions, right? Also, pain and medical issues. A lot of time, whether it's a dog or a cat, like a dog or a cat will growl or snarl or hiss or scratch or whatever, and it's like, geez, you automatically assume that the animal's being a jerk. Maybe they're not. They could be in pain, and you know what? How do you feel when you're in pain? Even if you have a pounding headache, if you have a stomach ache, if you feel like you're having diarrhea, you have terrible stomach cramps, like if you hurt yourself and nobody knows that the dog hurt themselves, and somebody comes along and tries to touch you, how do you feel? And it doesn't even have to be an injury. It can be some sort of illness that the dog is not well, right? The puppy is not well. So always consider that. Is the puppy having some sort of a problem? Is there some reason why the dog doesn't want to be touched or doesn't want anybody to approach the dog, okay? Make sure you consider that, okay? And also just fear or insecurity. That kind of goes along with the proper socialization. You may not know what their history is. And like I said, every puppy is different. Some puppies will need more reassurance. Some puppies will need more reassurance. Some will need a more quiet environment. Some will do better with children. Some will not, do so hot with children. So these are just some of the issues that you could think about and say, do any of these apply to my puppy as to why they might, why they might be behaving this way. I am going to give you a link in the description box where you can listen to Doggy Dan talk about dogs being aggressive, like I told you. Also, a second way to help your puppy with aggression is to be calm when handling puppy aggression. Don't yell. Certainly never punish your puppy with physical punishment. Instead, say no in a firm but calm voice and then redirect their attention to appropriate behavior. Okay, so don't fight back. Don't think that you have to overpower the dog or you got to show them who's boss. No, none of that crap. It doesn't work. The only thing that you're going to do with that sort of reaction to your dog's aggression is you're going to make it worse. It's going to escalate. It could become dangerous later on. They might be afraid of you, but they might not be afraid of anybody else. Do you know what I mean? It could just be really problematic. And also, you're just going to make your dog afraid of you. You're raising your dog with pain, with punishment, with negative emotions, with fear. It's just not good. So handle their aggression in a calm way, especially when they're little. They're very impressionable, just like small children. And dogs will tend to follow suit. If you're calm, they'll tend to be calm. So you got a better chance at this if you remain calm whenever your puppy is being aggressive. Number 3, like we talked about, properly socialize your puppy. Expose them to various environments, people, other dogs. Do it in a controlled and positive way. I am going to give you a video on socializing a puppy that you're going to be able to watch to get specific guidance on how to do it correctly. Number 4, don't initiate rough play. If your puppy tends to behave aggressively, games like tug of war or chasing games, they probably aren't really a good idea. Instead, play games like fetch or hide and seek, those kinds of things. It's fun to wrestle with a dog. When I was a kid, we had several German Shepherds, not all at once, but we had them at various times. We had a little poodle named Peppy. We had various dogs over the years. And my dad would get on the floor and wrestle with the dog. And it was so fun. You wrestle and you play tug of war and, it's fun. And most dogs enjoy that. And there's nothing wrong with it at all. But if you have a puppy who tends to get aggressive, like, okay, they're not just playing, they're starting to get kind of nasty. Don't encourage it. Just don't do that with this puppy. Choose other games. And again, you're teaching your puppy how to behave, right? I don't mean to laugh. Like I said, people joke about it because it's puppy. It's like it's cute that they're being ferocious or whatever. But, I don't know. It's a serious issue, but how can you not chuckle because they're trying to be ferocious and they're like so small. Oh, I don't know. Number 5 is to put your puppy in a timeout. When your puppy behaves aggressively, remove them from the situation, again, calmly. Put them in a quiet space for a few minutes. Once they've settled down, give them praise or a treat, and then allow them to continue the activity, and then praise them for their behavior when they get back. So a very effective thing for dog training is time out, because dogs by nature are pack animals. They want to be with the group. They want to be with the family. So if they're made to be by themselves, most dogs are not a happy camper about that. They just don't like it, right? And you wouldn't want to do it for long periods of time because it can be downright painful for a dog, to be left alone, especially a young puppy. But like we say, if you're, maybe you're playing with the dog or whatever, and the puppy starts getting aggressive, just very calmly pick the puppy up, take him, I don't know, laundry room, bathroom or something. Leave him alone for a few minutes. Now, if he's in there carrying on, barking, squealing, carrying on, try to wait until he quiets down. Even if he only quiets down for half a second. Don't open that door while he's still going berserk. Wait for even 1-2 second spot where he's quiet. And then you can open the door and go in. But once they settle down, make them stay in there. Even if you're sitting in there with them, you're quiet, you're not speaking to them, you're not interacting, it's just time out. And when they settle down, then give them praise, calmly take them back out, and, give them praise for behaving again. And, you may have to do this a few times. Like, I say, and so many of my dog and puppy training videos, that dogs are very cause and effect. If I do this, this happens. If I do this, this happens. It's like, okay, every time I play, and I start, snarling, I think it's fun, but mommy takes me to the laundry room. Like every time I get removed. They will put it together. Sometimes it takes repetition, and you do have to be consistent. You can't let the puppy snarl and growl and carry on today, and then you're not allowing it tomorrow. And also, all the people in your family, everybody that lives in your household also has to be on the same page with this. This is what behavior is appropriate. This is what behavior is not appropriate. And if the dog is behaving inappropriately, these are the steps that we take so that everybody is consistent. Not only to get the puppy trained, but so that the puppy doesn't get confused and they can be trained. They can be taught, right? Like I just said, number 6, be consistent with the strategy. Make sure everyone in the household is consistent with the rules for your puppy, what commands you're using, and review these techniques together so that everyone is on the same page and so the puppy does not get confused. And number 7 is learn how to stop resource guarding. That is kind of a common thing where it's like, oh, geez, the puppy's being nasty, is around their food bowl. I'm going to give you a link to this video from Doggy Dan, and it's so cute. You're going to be able to see in this video this little beagle puppy. His name is Moses. You might have heard me talk about Moses before, but Doggy Dan has a whole series on his website called Project Moses, and he went to his local SPCA and he adopted this little beagle puppy, Moses, when Moses was 8 weeks old. And then Doggy Dan videotaped him training Moses on every aspect of dog training from the time he picked him up at 8 weeks old until Moses was a year old. I think it's just a fantastic way for people to learn how to do puppy training. I'm going to give you the links for his website course in the description box. But in this particular, it's just a little, I don't know, maybe a 3 or 4 minute video. You see Doggy Dan working with Moses on being aggressive around the food bowl. So if that's your issue, Doggy Dan's going to be able to help you with that. Again, here's the video where Doggy Dan talks about, physiological things that are going on actually in your dog's brain and what triggers that aggression. And one of the reasons why I like to give people this video as often as I can is because one of the things that Doggy Dan explains in this video is that once that switch goes on, the dog finds it impossible to shut that off. And I think that's one of the biggest things you have to realize. It's like the dog's going berserk, you're pulling on the leash, like the dog, they're out of control. They're out of control, and physiologically, they can't get a hold of that in their brain. And I'm not talking about a dog who has some sort of psychological disorder or anything. I'm just talking about dogs in general. Like, this is how They are. It's a, you know, a similar thing with cats. You know, cats have so many stimuli. Like everything we smell, they can smell more. Everything we hear, they can hear more. Everything we can see, they can see further. Their whiskers are all like little nerve endings where they have, you know, all these senses. And a cat, my bangs look awful. I'm sorry, they're bugging me. A cat will get overstimulated with this. You know, have you ever seen a cat like all of a sudden they're just like staring into space? That's them trying to get a hold of themselves. Like there's just so much stimuli that sometimes they just have to sit there and just like let it all calm down. But like for example, and I hate to get on cats, this is a puppy video, but I'm just trying to talk about this. What can they control in their own brain topic? If you see a cat in a window and they're looking at a bird, my current cat Whiskers and other cats that I've had, they'll sit there and the cat will go, they make this sound with their mouth. Well, they're being stimulated. That's stimulation. Okay, well, you know, maybe the cat can control that. Maybe things are okay or whatever. But if 3 more birds show up, plus this, plus that, you know, the cat might go berserk. He might start snarling. He might start meowing. He might start making louder noises. He might start scratching at the window or the screen. You know, they can kind of get out of control. And at that moment, you don't want to touch that cat. And if you touch that cat at that time and the cat bites your face off, you got to understand that the cat can't help himself. He's in this physiological state that you'll hear Doggy Dan talking about where it's too far gone. They can't bring it back. Okay, so it's another reason why it's just really important to do proper training techniques with your puppy regarding the aggression, to teach your puppy how to control his impulses, to teach your puppy how to handle situations in life so that they don't end up in that situation where they are triggered, they are upset, so much so that they actually feel like they have to be violent. I mean, seriously, can you imagine what that feels like? It's most of the time coming from fear. You know, how many times in your life have you been so afraid that you felt you had to be violent to protect yourself? And how does that feel? Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be dramatic here. I'm just trying to say, like, you have to understand that this is something that your puppy will need, they need help with. And it's not hard. It's not hard. I'm going to give you some links for Doggy Dan where he's going to be able to show you, you know, how to do these things. I'm also going to give you a link to this. It's called the Dog Calming Code. It's one of Doggy Dan's most popular, and it's one of his newest dog training programs. It's only $47. It does come with a money-back guarantee. It has a 2-hour video where Doggy Dan explains everything, not only about aggression, but about dog behavior in general. And you're going to end up having just a nice relationship with your puppy. You're going to have a better bond with your puppy. Your puppy is going to be happier about life. They're going to be calm. They're going to be more relaxed, not just regarding aggression, but in their little puppy life in general. And the Calming Code training consists of 5 exercises that you incorporate into your puppy's everyday life that kind of sets the tone for a well-behaved, happy, confident, calm puppy. It's really good. I think you'll like it very much. Now, help with serious puppy aggression. I do have a video and a post on my website called Help with Dog Aggression. And in that one, we talk about, you know, what if it's serious? You know, I'm going to give you the information to contact a dog behavioral specialist, what steps you can do to get, you know, if you need professional help with this, even what steps to take if you feel like you can't keep the dog. If you're like, you know, this dog is biting, I have small children, I don't even know if I can keep the dog, like all these sorts of things. So if you feel like it's serious, please go ahead and go to that link and get some instruction, get some help about what to do about it. And don't feel guilty. If this is an issue and you've adopted this puppy and you're taking the steps that you can take to get this under control, for example, if you get the Dog Calming Code and you go through the training and you do the steps and you can't get a hold of this, if you need to take the dog back to the SPCA, or, you know, if you need to do that, then, you know, don't feel guilty about it, right? You want your family to be safe, and you also want your puppy to end up living in a place with an owner who can handle him, right? So I'm getting off a track on that. Hopefully this is not the situation with you. Hopefully everything that I'm giving you in today's video is going to help you to just get control of this. I'm also going to give you a link to another website called thehappypuppysite.com. They have a nice article called How to Stop Puppy Aggression Fast. And in that post, they cover why is my puppy so aggressive, signs of aggression in puppies, how to deal with an aggressive puppy, and can you train aggressive puppies. So my first recommendation is to go to Doggy Dan's website, get his help. It's the quickest, fastest, easiest, most kind way to address this issue. But you can also check out these other resources as well. Now, if you don't know, I donate to animal charities. I get a small commission for some of the products and services that I recommend to people on my YouTube channel and also on my website. And I donate 10% of my earnings to animal charities. And if you go to the homepage of peoplelovinganimals.com, you will see a list of the animal charities that I donate to. So again, thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope it was helpful. If it was, please give it a like. It really does help YouTubers if you do that. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you're not a subscriber, please go ahead and subscribe and take a look at my channel. You'll see I have my videos broken up by playlist: puppy training, dog dog care, dog health, cat health. You'll see I have a bunch of playlists where you can be, specific on what it is you might be looking for. And if there's anything specific that you would like help with, please go ahead, feel free to comment, because I might very well already have a video on that I could give to you, okay? So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope it helped. My name is Deborah, and my website is peoplelovinganimals.com. Thanks again.